Batman vs Superman came out in 2016. It was one of the most hyped superhero movies coming out in that year. Once it did, it had mixed reactions with the fans. Some good, some bad. But was what we got really the plan from the start? Was this all Zack had to offer us in his adaptation of one of the most iconic super versus super fights in history? Well, since the Snyder Cut is coming out on HBO Max next year, we're going to be talking about what Batman vs Superman could have looked like. We can all agree that the fight between Batman and Superman was cut too short. May you like the movie or not. The fight between the two also had some slow action, which is never a good sign in a superhero versus superhero movie. Well, in the concept art we found, Zack originally planned to have the two duke it out for even longer than we expected. As you can see, it's not like what we got at all. Both Batman and Superman were giving their all in this fight, with both destroying Batman's armor and Superman's uniform. I mean, Warner Bros. Might have wanted to cut these scenes to trim down the movie to a reasonable length, but they should have done it with other scenes besides the one thing the movie was about. It's Batman vs Superman, not Batman talks to Superman.
Tell me. Do you bleed?
Okay, that was kinda cool, but there were still scenes that needed trimming besides the actual fight. I mean, look at the concept art. Both heroes are obviously giving it their all. Look at this one. Batman giving Superman a good old The next photo shows Superman kicking off Batfleck's helmet like it was a football in FIFA 2020. Both are good scenes that we would obviously enjoy. Seeing these scenes make you wonder, how did they get to this point? That's the thing. The fight could have been a much bigger, longer, and better scene, seeing the odd tilt towards both of their favors throughout the entire battle. Sometimes to Batman and sometimes to Superman. That's the one element the final release was missing. Intensity. If this was what we got, we would have a more suspenseful, dramatic, and intense fight with both sides getting the upper hand on each other throughout the fight. In the end result of the fight would be extremely evident on both heroes in this photo. Here, we could have seen Batfleck's worn out and torn apart armor while Superman looks much more fucked up than he was in the final release. I mean, look at the guy. It looks like he can barely even move. It looks like he got his back broken by some muscular dude with no powers. Here we could have seen the extremely bad state the fight left our heroes in, especially Superman. Which should have been the case because remember, Batman was not playing games. He was literally trying to kill him. This would later also explain why Superman wasn't as strong when the Trinity fought Doomsday. Speaking of Doomsday, let's take a look at the original designs of this beast. Look at this beast! This was the original design for Doomsday to make him look more like an abomination like Zack intended him to be when Luthor created him in the broken down Kryptonian ship. I personally like this concept art better than what we got, because the final Doomsday kinda looks like an unfinished template of what we could have gotten. The final battle would have looked so much better too. Here we can see all three of the Trinity trying to put Doomsday down. When I say all three, I mean all three. Batfleck wouldn't be fighting from a distance like he was in the final movie. Here we can see him diving head first in the fight against Doomsday. If you're wondering what Batman is shoving down Doomsday's big ass throat, it's the last kryptonite grenade he was saving in the Superman battle. Remember, he still has some kryptonite gas, so this photo of what we could have gotten would probably sit better with the fans than what we actually got. We get that Batman was fighting from a distance because he's facing something much more powerful than Superman. But hey, it would have been a cool scene though. The rest of the movie would have been the same, but the build-up for the fight would have paid off so much better. The entire movie was building up to the final confrontation between the Man of Steel and the Dark Knight. The final movie didn't even capitalize on that build-up. These scenes that could have made it into the final movie would have made the movie much more impactful and fun to watch. The final battle with Doomsday would have went down better too. Because not only does Doomsday have to fight Superman and the newly introduced Wonder Woman, but he also has to deal with the mobile and tactical Batman on his tail, constantly poking him with kryptonite from above and below. Now that's a final battle, DC. We might never know why they cut this out of the final release in 2016. But what we do know is that the movie could have been so much more and so much better. We know that they had to cut the movie down into a reasonable length, but cut out the main thing your movie is literally all about? That's a big no-no, Warner Bros. We don't mind a little bit more runtime, as long as the main thing we were waiting for the entire damn movie was worth the wait. We could have gotten a hard-fought battle with blood on both sides, instead of getting a slow-paced, mediocre choreographed dance between two of the most iconic DC superheroes there is. But hey, let's just hope they do these two some justice in Zack Snyder's version of the Justice League in 2021 on HBO Max. We really can't do anything about what's already happened. It's there, it's history. We just like to think about what the movie could have been if these concept art storyboard scenes were in the final release. And that concludes today's video. But what are your thoughts? Could these scenes make the movie much better than what we got in 2016? Would you see it again if they added them into the movie? Let us know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching.